Hello and welcome back, everyone, as we prepare for Game 2, kicking off our first series of the day. Wildcard strike first against Fear, but it was a back-and-forth Game 1 and beatdown. I know one thing in life is true. Well, actually, three things in life are true. Death, taxes, and Fear games go in 3. So strap in, everybody, because this match is probably going the distance. Fear have yet to finish a series 2-0 or 0-2, so I do expect them to at least clap back in this next game. That game was way too close to count them out yet.
It was, and even though it was a messier game than I would have liked from a wild card, our point from the beginning of the broadcast still holds true. That remember, their future's in their hands. If they 2-0 every series, including this one, for the remainder of the split, they cannot be evicted from playoffs. They will be top 8. They will avoid the promotion tournament, and a Game 1 win is a good start, even if it was messy.
Yep. I like evicted, such a colorful word to use right there. But yeah, you're right that. From the side of Fear, they've been having 3-game series for every single series they play, but from the side of Wildcard, they are very incentivized to not let that happen this time around. Obviously, just for the fact that you want to close out quickly, end your day earlier, but for the fact that you just said, if they can 2-0 for the rest of the split, that means that they guarantee they do not go into that promotion tournament. Otherwise, it will be dependent on how the other teams look. Some of the teams around them, specifically Disguised, that we'll see later on today. But I think that Wildcard holding their destiny in their own hands always feels good. How likely do you think it is, though, with Fearless Draft? We're not going to see something like the Yasuo bot lane anymore. We're not going to see the Azir because they cannot go back to the champions that they just played in that Game 1.
The likelihood that it's not going to 3 is pretty low. I'm going to be real, Kangas. These teams, they kind of go to 3 games pretty often. Fear have literally only done that. And considering how messy that Game 1 was, I think it would just be silly to call this one a 2-0.
Yeah, okay, but let's imagine it is. So from the wildcard perspective, let's imagine they can 2-0 this one. Let's look at the remaining strength of schedule to see how likely it is that they fully control their destiny and guarantee that playoff spot. They got AoE next week, week 7. That's going to be their Sunday match. Not the easiest opponent, but not one of the hardest ones either. Then after that, they have Supernova to close out their entire schedule. Now, Supernova is one of those teams that's creeping up towards the top. A lot of players we've heard from, we're going to see them later today, but spoilers, we've heard some people saying that they're even better than teams like FlyQuest, even if they don't have the series score to back it up.
Kangas doesn't actually think that.
That's not one of my thoughts. That Scary Jerry, shout out to one of the Maryville players, But I think that's going to be their hardest one, of course, but it's still possible that they can guarantee that spot.
100%, and I think this would be a great start for them, but it is, as you say, Supernova is the hardest, is definitely the hardest matchup for Wildcard the remainder of the split. Fun fact, that's actually true for DSG as well, who are also trying to fight for top 8. So Supernova, in a way, doing a little bit of gatekeeping, it seems. But, back to this series right here. Fear are in an okay spot, since we've been talking a lot about Wildcard and their playoff chances, that, they could be eliminated if they just lose every single game going forward.
Technically, it would be tough, though.
It would be tough, and I am not predicting that to happen. So that's why I think their chances are pretty solid, too.
They do have more games to play, though. So they do technically have more ground that they could lose. They have...
Oh, that's also true.
Yeah. So 4 series ahead of them. This series included. Then they have Supernova next weekend. They're kicking that off on Friday.
Everyone's just playing.
Then they have AoE and Maryville. So they're up against Supernova and Maryville in 2 of their last 4 opponents. That is a pretty tough strength of schedule. So Fear, their work's not done yet. They definitely need to pick it up still here. Dropping this game to Wildcard is going to put them in the hot seat, but it's not out. Let's take a look at the draft from that Game 1, though, to remind everybody this is Fearless Draft. Fear cannot pick the champions on the left side of the screen. Wildcard cannot pick the champions on the right side. And I'm going to go back to that point. Doc's on the Yasuo. We love to see it. Darkwing's on the Azir, signature champ. Even Quacker on the Olaf. They played a lot of their, unique picks very early on here. They cannot go back to that. So when we see a more traditional Wildcard beat, I'm not as impressed with their performances.
I kind of lean towards agreeing with you there, and as we get into the draft, which I am hearing is ready, the thing that I'm most interested in is what top lane is going to look like, since you kind of pointed out the Olaf for Quacker. Because remember, in that first draft, he received a lot of bans. And if they kind of go that route again, which, I mean, with the Udyr going away, a couple of other things like Darius, Trundle, even though that's a flex we're taking away as well. So I'm wondering what else he's going to dig deep into to kind of round out whatever comp Wildcard are going for.
I'm imagining a Darius ban right here. I mean, we could see... There were a lot of top lane bans from both sides. Quacker was even banning stuff like the Jax into them when they were on the blue side. So with a couple of those options off the table... I mean, Quacker still can play the Aatrox, so maybe he goes towards something like that. We just flip it around. I expect Philip to maybe go into more of a tank pick, even though he has been playing more carries, just based on what they played the first time. But there's that Darius ban, Senna ban, so they don't want to give that over to Lens and Daption. They can't play it themselves. We see this a lot in Fearless Draft. Now we're in week 6 of the NACL, so we've seen some trends start to pop up as to how coaches and teams are approaching the Fearless Draft. Basically, you play something in the first game, you ban it the next game, because you can't play it anymore, but you don't want your opponent to have the same strat, especially if it's one of the premier ones.
If I can't play it, no one can play it, I think is the takeaway here, which I mean, the ban towards the virus kind of indicates that one as well. We were kind of talking about the new patch and a lot of the changes that came with it, Kangas, but while you were going to the bathroom, I remembered a big change that we didn't talk about. I mean, that you have bodily functions, it's fine, dude, no one cares. Is that Rek'Sai got basically reworked and is actually in a pretty decent spot right now, so I'm wondering if teams are going to pull that one out. That would be fun.
I have not seen Rek'Sai in a long while.
Last year. Don't lie.
Well, okay, as a meta pick. In a long while. I remember Rek'Sai Gragas meta way back in the day. That was fun. Yeah, that was before your time in League of Legends Beatdown. That was back when CLG was relevant. All right, well, let's catch up on what's happening right now here. Ashe locked in for Fear to start things off, and we get him. The Smiling Dragon Smolder locked in for Wildcard.
And it's nice, too. We know it works mid. We know it works bot. It's received some nerfs on this patch, mostly to the kind of damage, I believe, from his Q that scales with the amount of stacks that he has. But it's just to tune down how strong he is late game. So he's still going to be able to stack at a similar rate. It is all about that 225 threshold. And how soon can you get there to really start to get that damage coming?
Yeah, I actually have the patch notes right here, so some of the changes we can go over as we see him pop up on screen. But first, let's catch up on what's happening with the rest of the draft. The Vi paired with the Smolder, one of the tougher combos. I actually don't like stuff like this. I've seen a lot of teams opt for it because the Vi wants to go all in. Smolder can follow up a little bit with the Mom ultimate along with the Yachu, but you don't have a lot of range outside of those things. So if you're trying to follow up a Vi engage, you can struggle. It's into Talia, Cassante as well, so kind of hard champs to kill anyway. Yeah. And we're pairing with the Blitzcrank. I also don't like this combo as a support with the Smolder. It's not the first time we've seen it.
So it depends on what we see mid. I mean, looking at what Fear have so far, long range engage, a lot of CC, and a lot of front to back that they're setting up for. The Blitz is good in lane because it's almost certainly going to be Ashe support, and that's kind of what Doxa is picking it for. I think he's had some good games on the champ. I see the vision, but the thing that stands out to me is this Vi needs a pairing. Ori is out of the picture, even though I don't think Ari is in a good space right now. Despite the buff she's gotten 2 patches in a row, that might be the angle for Darkwings because the Talia is also out of the picture. You need a combo with this Vi because it's clearly something they're building towards, and it should still synergize well enough to be pretty decent in that early to mid game, post level 6 and things like that. But I'm curious to see what Darkwings will actually pull out.
I just caught up on the patch notes for Smolder and the changes to the ultimate. It says Smolder's mom will no longer stop if Smolder dies, but she will be very angry. Shame on you. So shame on you, anybody who kills Smolder while the ultimate's going off.
Specifically then, not anytime else.
Specifically then. Okay, the Rengar respect ban against Chad. That's fun to see. Viego has been his most played champion so far. We do not believe that this is a Talia in the jungle, so we're still trying to pinch a lot of that pool. I still think Talia jungle is viable. I do see her coming back into the meta there. So I think that there's a potential that they do flex that around, but it's all mid lane focus bans for Fear.
Yeah, and right now, I'm assuming a mid laner is going to be picked, and I really think it kind of feels bad picking Ari in this kind of setup. So I guess they're going to end up going with the Hui. I mean, I need some CC topside, like, right now, because I really don't like the idea of Winnie going in by himself. There is follow-up damage, but I can just kind of already see him dying very quickly in 5v5s.
What I want from Fear, though, on the other side is Dive. If they have champions that can just get onto Smolder, get onto Hui, there's not a lot of peel tools right now. Vi, Blitzcrank, not known necessarily for stopping Dive champs, so we go for Renekton, and we have to pick a bot laner now here to pair with the Ashe.
You don't see what I'm seeing? 2 top laners in Fear's draft.
Oh, wait, that's a good point.
Who's going where exactly? Is this are we bringing back Cassante mid, Renekton mid? What are we looking at here?
I think either one can work. What I like about something like this is they both work, so you can pivot based on what wildcard lock in for their top laner. But the weakness of Hui early on is that you have long cooldowns. So if you have a champion like Renekton, even kind of Cassante, that can get on top of the Hui early on. What is going on?
TF top.
TF is locked in. Yeah, TF top, maybe Hui. It could be Smolder mid, TF bot. I mean, like, they got options, but no, you're right. It's looking like TF top lane.
Wow. I mean, TF saw some nerfs this patch, but I mean, A, they were minimal, and B, it was to APTF. This is almost certainly going to be ADTF for Quacker. And this is a really interesting one for me because, I mean, the 5v5, this kind of works with what I was hoping for. Someone to follow up with Winnie. You could use the TF Destiny to go in as well, set up a gold card, and the hope is that you just blow someone up 100-0. But the front to back is really nice from Fear overall. And I think you have some pretty decent lane advantages, mid and bot, just because I think Cassante is going to play pretty well into Hui personally, but we'll see. So I'm really curious about how this early game is going to go for Cincinnati Fear and how Quacker is going to play TF, because that's not usually a Quacker champ.
TF in the top lane, everybody, as Wildcard are up 1-0 in the series. They're having fun with the map this time around. Will it pay off for them? They do not have a lot of peel options for their Hui and their Smolder, 2 champions that really like gold. So Winnie and Dogs are going to have their work cut out for them. I think it's going to come down to try and get that initial pick with the Vial, with the Blitz hook, with the TF ultimate, and then hope that you can survive afterwards. Because honestly, if you're Fear and you lose one member, I think you could still take a 4v5 front to back fairly comfortably. There's not really a front line for Wildcard.
Yeah, especially when you consider Lens is on that misfortune, which we hadn't really talked about just yet. I mean, lane pressure when the Blitzcook is not up is pretty much going to be your friend in that regard. You have a lot of wombo combo with those 2 ultimates, and if you honestly just get a good setup from your team overall in team fights, Lens can do a lot of damage. I think that's kind of what you're alluding to when you say there is 4v5 potential in this comp, So my eyes are really on Wildcard to make the first move in a lot of fights. But Winnie,
speaking of first moves, we're making a move right now onto Wildcard's jungler. Oh, they're waiting for him to take more damage. They're waiting for him to take maximum damage to almost guarantee the kill onto him.
Oh, I can't watch. I'm closing my eyes.
Here comes Chad. They just CC him. First blood to Talia, and we can take away the red buff. That is disastrous for Wildcard.
That's a really bad feeling for sure, and it's a big deal for Chad, who you wanted to see the Talia jungle. I like the pick as well, so getting this early lead is such a big deal. It means that first back Chad goes for is going to be really impactful, and it means he's going to be able to have a lot of impact on the map pretty soon.
See, this is why I don't like Blitzcrank with Smolder. Level 1, you hit the hook. Most other AD carries, they love that. Smolder's like, wait a minute, I gotta run away.
Yeah.
I don't do any damage right now. And it doesn't feel like it works. I don't like to say draft diff too often because there's always a way for a comp to play out the map, but I really struggle, especially with this early jungle clear now. I really struggle to see how Wildcard is supposed to get into a point of the game where they can actually do anything with these champions. So we'll see how creative they can be. Right now, Chad's very ahead of Winnie in that clear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm imagining we'll even see Chad maybe try to go for an invade for those Raptors respawn, just to ensure that he has a lead while taking resources away from Winnie.
And you are beat.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Chad's going to be able to kind of continue this lead Because what I really like about counter jungling is not just finding an early lead, but denying resources so they never get back into the game. It's double the value if you getting something means you also took it from them.
Exactly. Very, very useful. Very, very efficient.
Yeah.
Winnie, though, trying to take away some camps himself, does not have prio mid, but Toasty's low, so still has confidence here. It's spotted, but I don't know if Chad's going to make it there in time to stop it. So, okay, Winnie does actually get away with the Raptors. I was worried that this was over-eager, but I guess he had the read that Chad would have gone from top camps to bot camps. And when he gets on the map fast enough... Oh, nice. What a hook there from Doxa! Instant ignite. Ghost used by Cleanse. Still has the flash available. Running back towards Zaption, who has the heal available. But here comes Winnie. Right around the corner. Flashes to follow. That's Aaron with the kill credit. But it took so long that now Chad's shown up. Now Toasty has shown up. Winnie. Aaron goes down. Oh, Winnie with the Vault Breaker will get away. Toasty trying to chase it down. Has the flash available. Can we get the flash stun? There it is. Pulled under the turret. Doxa will equalize the kills. What a play. What an initial hook from Wildcard support.
I thank God we're getting a replay. So much happened here.
Look at this.
And I really like the hook from Doxa. Even though the pairing is a little awkward with Smolder, the thing about Smolder is that to get the stacks up, you do want to be skirmishing, you do want to be scrapping somewhat often. And especially when you know your jungler's coming from their enemy jungle, it's an easy setup to come through. But you called it, Kangas. It took too long. And there was enough time for trades to come back to not only equalize, but honestly put this in favor of Fear, in my opinion.
The fact that they didn't kill Misfortune before the flash went off is kind of what sealed their fate. If they killed the Misfortune right away, then they can get out. But the fact Aaron had to flash over the wall meant that was a one-way trip. Props to Lens and Daption. They waited for the Ignite to go down, then Daption heals to get the maximum healing, so there's no grievous wounds applied. And all of that amounts to Lens surviving just long enough. But Aaron getting the kill does still feel good. You're very far behind in CS, and this wave is in a bad spot, so... You're going to have to feel good with that kill and nothing else, because the lane is not going great otherwise.
Which basically means that kill just equalizes the gold between Aaron and Lens, because even Chad is in the area to ensure that Aaron doesn't get any time with this wave. And I mean, it doesn't matter.
I mean, that was fun.
Yeah.
You gave a high five to Chad.
Nice.
That's the old high five Blitzcrank right there.
Yeah. Just, it's like, you know, that first sip of coffee. It wakes you up a little bit. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, that's 2 hooks in a row now. Or not in a row, but 2 hooks that we've seen.
Yeah. So in my mind, that's 2 in a row.
Maybe Blitzcrank Smolder is not the combo, folks. But
we'll see.
You know what? It's not going to come down to that right now. It's going to come down to Winnie on the map here. The Vi wanting to get back into the game after a really rough early game. And props to Winnie, all things considered. Has still made a lot happen, has kind of caught up in the clear, and even takes away those grubs.
Right. To be fair, he doesn't have many camps left, really just his bot side, whereas Chad has many more to farm for himself, so he will maintain a slight lead, but it really does help that Winnie was able to get the grubs and at least get that extra experience in gold that Chad wasn't able to, in hopes that he kind of gets to level 6 on pace. He'll still be a little late, but that's when we really start to see this champion have that impact. The whole time in draft, we were talking about who's going to go in with Winnie. Soon, Winnie will be able to show us when he gets to level 6.
I want to go back to another thing we had been talking about of this mid lane matchup. I like things that can be aggressive into the Hui. Toasty has not been able to do that on the Cassante.
No.
And if you give Hui a free lane phase, that's ideal for the Hui. You're not going to match the clear speed as Toasty. We already see Toasty falling behind in CS, so I think Darkwings is actually in a really comfortable spot, despite the fact that the comp is still a little janky.
Yeah.
They're overall, scaling in some of the areas that they're happy about. Top lane and mid lane have big CS leads, so even though Aaron's behind, it's not the end of the world for Wildcard. Fear, we're setting up a potential Death Brush right there, but when he plays it smart, does not give it to them. Darkwings does not play it smart, plays right into the hand of Chad, and Toasty's not able to buffer the CC, so actually does get hit there, and Chad's got a Weaver's Wall away. Fear losing ultimate.
So it does mean that prio for Drake actually is still a little up in the air, especially with some big cooldowns. Caught out. Slow down again. He's going to slow himself with this W here. Gone.
And there's a Bullet Storm. Doxa falls. Lens picks up the kill.
And now they feel good enough to go ahead and attack Winnie in his jungle. And they're still delaying the level 6. You can see it. There's no camps for him bot side. So it just means that Wildcard have to abandon this first Drake, and it's just going to go over to Fear.
It seemed like Wildcard might have been able to take that, but you're right. Winnie still level 5. We'll now get to the Raptors. Chad picks up the Dragon. Will Winnie get level 6 off of this camp is the question. If you don't, then you are so far behind. I don't know if the XP is like, there we go. Okay, that's really good for Winnie.
Oh.
Now level 6 can now make a play happen. Speaking of, we're right onto Toasty. He no longer has the invulnerable here. He's trying to go all out, get the kill into Darkwings, but flash from Darkwings. Doxa with the kill credit of all people. But either way, Wildcard take down Toasty.
Yeah, this is a little unlucky, but the point is you're setting the mid laner of Fear behind. He is losing out on a good bit of gold and experience going mid too. And despite this game being pretty even, I think when I look at where kills are on the members of both of these teams, I am liking what I'm seeing for Fear a little more. I mean, Doxa having 2 kills of your 3, it feels kind of bad. Daption, on the other hand, he's playing Ashe, so it's kind of good. We like that. It means the damage is where we want it to be for the side of Cincinnati Fear. And when we talk about
more DPS out of it.
Yeah. And Wildcard as a team, mid to late game. Oh, hold on.
Oh! Nice hook right there as Daption's still alive, though. Aaron calls on the help of Bob, but he's just getting chased down. Lens picks up the kill onto Aaron and can now look at Doxa. Doxa's got no DPS, just movement speed, but I don't think you're getting away from Lens here, brother. Has flash available, still falls. Lens on a killing spree.
Right, it's a 2-for-1. It feels nice for Aaron to be able to get a kill there, but at what cost? You're down 30 CS, now you're down a kill as well. And this bot lane has basically just become a nightmare for Wildcard.
And top side, flash out from Philip when he almost finds the play as Chad is chasing down here. We have the gold card on Quacker. I think Wildcard are fine. Chad's going to try and stop them. Ooh, good sidestep there from Winnie.
Wow, Philip was expecting that play to work. He commits the Dominus in expectation of the Seismic Shove landing. So because of that, I really like Wildcard's chances to get the grubs. Remember, they have 3. They could get 5 or 6.
Ooh. Oh! What a hook. Almost lands on the Chad. Doxa has been landing a couple of high-impact ones. I know some of the early ones felt a little ambitious, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But we're at about 50% where they're very impactful. Now the next round of grubs have spawned. Winnie is in the area. Doxa's going to chase down Chad. Flash in. Chain CC him. He's got a flash to safety. Quacker's continuing the chase. He gets him. Enemy jungler down. It's going to come down to the top laners. Toasty gets in there. Philip gets in there. They trade 1 back. Jungler for jungler. No one's got smite for the Krugs. But look at Darkwings. Big damn. Quacker's just walking forward. This ADTF is pumping right now. And a double kill to Quacker means Wildcard earned themselves these grubs.
It was a bit of a roundabout way, but it ended up playing out kind of how we expected. This TF going in with Winnie was what we wanted to see. Not exactly what I expected them to go for, but it ended up working out really nicely. Quacker is going in, Winnie is going in trying to get a bunch of CC off. And at the end of it, Philip not having the Dominus from that earlier play also makes this one really rough. He doesn't feel confident about his chances going in and really do anything because of that extra help he doesn't have.
Yeah, I mean, props to the Blitzcrank player. You can go look for the max range hook, or you can just flash punch him. As we see that happen now, Philip. Okay, he's got backup from Chad. Chad has been reading where Winnie is pretty well on this top half of the map over the last couple of minutes, and not all the grubs went down, so you still have a chance to pick up some of those. It's only 5. What a hook again from Doxa! This time on Adaption. This time it gets the kill. Credit over to the Blitzcrank. Again, a little rough there, but now Chad and Philip in a 2v2 top lane. They trade kills as Quacker will go down for Chad's life.
It feels good that Philip gets a shutdown, but another kill going over to Quacker just kind of speaks to how ambitious that dive really was. Philip now, I think, looking to proxy, but looking like...
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Winnie can't do much to stop him right now. Philip does have the plated steel caps, so very tanky. His lens is just going to be annoying and stop the back of Aaron here, get this wave in. I mean, for all the complaining I was doing, saying I don't like Blitzcrank with the Smolder combo, they have been finding some of these plays into Adaption. I hope that this is the... Yeah, this is the look. Is this blind? Oh, no.
No, because of the ward.
Dude, kind of blind.
Kind of blind, and I have questions about whether or not that hit, but that's not important here. It was a good hook because it landed. That's how these things work, although Doxa does get another kill. This is actually what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the dive and what the setup really looked like here. I imagine Quacker was who they had their sights set on, especially because he was low health trying to recall.
Ooh, Winnie spots out
He just
Chad.
missed.
That's what happened right there. I wonder if Quacker had played under the turret, if they could have also turned that onto Philip, but with Dominus, probably not.
Nah.
Either way,
The
dive does not work out for Fear.
Yeah, I think that was well played from Quacker. I liked it. And he's 4-1 as a result. He's going to be pumping out damage, as you had said earlier. And now, I just said on this
Asher
string.
used Instant Cleanse by Aaron. Fear are making a play down here, but Dox is going to try. Oh, does not snipe
I respect it.
the rocket grab, but again, can just run at Daption. Use that rocket punch, as now Daption's in a lot of trouble.
Wow.
Flash was on cooldown. It just came up in time for him to die.
Hey, Glacial Augment doing a lot of work in that play, and it sets you up perfectly for Drake. My question was going to be whether or not Wildcard can actually fight this, because Smolder is not anywhere near where he wants to be, but a well-placed knockup from Doxa and a good play from Wildcard overall means it's going to be a pretty easy setup. I actually kind of hope if we can hover Aaron right now. I'm curious what the stack count is at, because they've been scrapping a lot.
Okay. Well, I guess we just got another rocket grab or something there. Lens went down. Did not have flash available, did not use Ghost, but it's kill credit to Aaron. As now top lane. Okay.
And he's out of there.
Quacker gets out of there. TF ultimate used defensively. Rare use case, but can be used for that purpose too.
Hey, he doesn't give up his life. That's what matters in that scenario. I like that Toasty was looking for an angle. That's something we see from him pretty often. But we're going to take a look at this bot lane play. Doxa. He's just... Yeah, I love it.
I freaking love it, man.
That just feels terrible.
It's so beautiful. Everyone's trying to sidestep the rocket grab. You're like, nah, I got a punch coming your way.
It's undodgeable. What are you supposed to do?
There's a turret there. I don't care.
It's not important.
Well done. It does get another kill to Aaron. This time Aaron's getting fed. Has come back a little bit in that department. Let's see the stacks if observers could highlight
80,
it.
yeah.
We're only at 80. Ooh, that's actually not that many.
No, usually you want to get...
Not even halfway there.
No, not quite. The 225, again, is that magic number. And it's usually, like, on average, I see it like 22 to 24 minutes is when we hit that threshold. The good thing for Wildcard is they have a lead beside of that, and they have power on other parts of the map. I think Quacker has kind of proven how impactful this TF top lane is. I think he's been playing it pretty well. He has a lot of gold and damage to speak of. So I think with what Wildcard have, even though Aaron's stacking a little slower than, I guess, the average Smolder from what I've seen, he's still in an okay spot because his team overall is doing well on the map.
Yeah, I'm noticing how he's clearing. He's auto-attacking a lot of minions. He's using W on a lot of minions rather than trying to stack that Q for the last hit. So, yeah, just one of those little things. If you're trying to maximize every stack you can possibly get, try and hit that breakpoint as quickly as possible. Aaron's only got the one so far, not even at the second one right now, so it's going to come down to other champions. I'm happy that you highlight Quacker. I think Darkwings as well should get a nod here, as Doxus playing with the idea of a hook. I mean, pretty squishy champions that you're looking at on your screen right now. We have a 1v1 bot side right now. Darkwings versus Toasty. Good fear right there. Toasty taking a lot of damage, and Winnie is in the neighborhood. Toasty still gets a knockback on the Darkwings, who walked a little too close, but it's just to get Winnie in range. Quacker sidestepping the seismic shove. Has the gold card. Gonna get dove here, but Philip doesn't want to commit to it. Quacker still alive. Just dies to the red buff.
Wow. So it ends up being a successful play on both ends of the map, but of course, a little more gold going over to Wildcard with that first brick coming through, and Fear hoping that they can start the Herald so they can equalize it. I don't think there's going to be a response, but with that commitment, they can see them on boards. There's the opportunity for Wildcard to just push this bottom tier 2 turret, collect even more gold as a result.
Yeah, Fear will at least get the Herald and the top turret if Philip can claim it. Actually, Philip's going to need one more wave push. So Herald goes down. Let's see the bottom wave. I want to see how close they got it. They got it. All right. Well done, Wildcard. I like this committal. They actually trade up because a Herald could be a turret, but a turret is a turret. So I think Wildcard are feeling better about that one.
You know, Kangas, that's some excellent analysis. Do you want to trade roles? I feel like you could do
honestly,
this.
I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, you have a lot to tell the people, don't you? When it comes to the deeper intricacies
that's
of League of
about
Legends.
the deepest insight that I can provide, though. So maybe we should keep our same job. All right, let's Crake Hook. Daption has a spell shield. Went Edge of Night first item. Really smart buy, and will now spot them out. All right. Dig is up.
Show's over, guys. Walk it out. I respect the look.
I do like this from Daption, though, because
That's
Edge of Night now means that you can actually walk in and get vision down. Not only does it deny the Blitzcrank hooks, but it also denies the potential of like a gold card catch, things like that from Quacker. So I think it's a very efficient item.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's going to end up getting a lot of value there. And kind of talking about Daption, and more the champ he is playing. He is playing the Ashe. Something I was kind of expecting to see was a lot of fights started with this Ashe hero. That's usually how comps with this champion play out, is that, you know, you lob an arrow from a million screens away and hopes you can catch someone out. And I think they're setting up for just that.
Arrow goes a little wide onto Doxa, who can now look for his own hook. All right, good buffer from Toasty right there. Avoids the CC, but we basically called the battle horde. Herald has gone down. We say we are fighting for this turret, but they're not going to get the turret. You know, Herald can be a turret, or it can just be damage. This time around, it was just damage. Wildcard do have enough members here to prevent the turret from fully cracking.
All right,
they don't have top priority, though, and Dragon's coming up.
It's tough. That's a pretty big stack wave you end up dropping. But Wildcard, they want this Drake, so they have to contest this mid wave. They need to get that push so they can walk down to the Drake. So yeah,
and they don't have to worry about Ashe Arrow for right now. Daption still does not have that, so we're just onto the Dragon. Fear have to walk into a Blitzcrank, which is always scary. But Wildcard are a little split right now. Winnie's not with everybody else. Darkwings and Doxa... Actually, Darkwings alone is just split right here. Winnie goes in, trying to get out to the back line. Here comes Mom over the top.
Wow.
They're on the Lens. They're on a Chad. They get them both. Never mind. Lens flashes away. The Ignite will finally burn him down. Toasty alls out onto Winnie. Will get the kill. Cassante doing Cassante things. Doxa pulls him back in. Aaron trying to run away, but Philip and Toasty, the Bash Bros on the front line, are taking down Wildcard's carries. We talked about their limited peel. If you can't stop these frontliners from getting on you, you are not going to have a fun fight. And we saw it play out just so.
And looking at this replay, I really like what Winnie was thinking. I was saying it earlier, you have to pull the trigger first with this comp. The combo was there, it looked good, but you saw the separation. Philip's so good at breaking up this fight on this Renekton, taking basically the attention away from these damage dealers to ensure the rest of the front line were able to get their work done. And even though I like the idea, this is the limitations of the comp that Wildcard are working with. That you highlighted, Kangas, during Champ Select.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at where the champions with CC peel abilities were. Blitzcrank and Vi both dove. I think it's fine if Winnie goes in. If you're Doxa, you need to stick on the carries because you don't have a lot of CC, but you do have it. You can knock somebody up, you can pull somebody in, and you can silence them. That's a big one. Yep. That could be enough to stop Philip from just destroying the backline, but now Philip gets a turret. He got a couple kills, 3-0-4 on the Renekton. Fear's threats are getting fed right now.
And it's worth noting, too, the Sterix comes out for Philip, and against the comp with a lot of CC, I remember, guys, this year they added tenacity to some of those bruiser items, which I really like that as a change, to be honest. You don't feel gated into buying Merc Tread so that you can actually play League of Legends when your opponents have a lot of CC. So he has that survivability, and he has the opportunity to eat up a lot of stuns and still have impact.
All right, let's see how Fear want to play this one out. So far, I think they've done a good job of playing out the fights. That rocket grab goes very wide. Wildcard, I think that they got a little over-eager there, but all props to them still for being in this game. I kind of counted them out just from the champs alone, but they are proving that they have an idea of how they want to play this one out. But as I say that, they're getting picked right now. Ashe Arrow lands here onto Winnie. Seismic shoves back. He tries to use Cease and Desist in. Flash from Daption to guarantee there's no Vault Breaker escape, and Quacker he ulted in there. Trying to get a flank off, and there's just no angle to look for. He can get away, but we are right on Baron, and we just picked the enemy jungler. Fear can start this up.
And what engage do you have to speak of with Winnie out of the picture? You're hoping for a blitz pull, but ultimately, I don't think Wildcard can stop this.
Toasty just needs to block it. If Toasty gets hooked, there it is. They don't have the damage. Now Bulletstorm comes out. Everyone's got to run away. Good damage, all things considered. Here comes Mom. Oh, never mind. Right between the goalposts. He's Toasty taking a lot of damage from that Baron. Baron kind of being the 5th member for Wildcard here. Low health bars for Fear. Darkwings is outputting a lot of damage.
Oh my god!
That's the hook they needed. And a shutdown onto Philip. Wildcard make it work with only 4 champs up.
They really did a good job of using their range to get... Oh, hold on a second.
Oh, Lens. Ooh.
Lens?
Okay, well,
Lens?
no, Lens, yeah. Oh my goodness. We're just full sending it right now, aren't we? We have a couple kills over Wildcard right at the Baron. Now they're going to be the ones to start it up.
That's a curious decision. Lens biting off more than he could chew means the Baron is going to pretty easily go over to Fear. You have a lot of DPS coming through here, and no response with Chad being down for 30 seconds.
After all the play, they didn't get a ward into the Baron pit. I imagine Lens thought they were on Baron. Lens probably was like, oh, they're DPSing Baron. I can chase down the Blitzcrank right now, who's trying to play goalie.
Yeah, but to
and
what
did not
end?
expect Aaron to be there.
At what point that kill doesn't really do anything for you, and instead that risk costs Fear a lot. Now Lens is just getting back on the map because you fast recall with Baron. You spend so much of the gold you just earned. Wildcard suddenly in a very strong spot. 40 seconds before this Drake, it's going to be easy for them to set up all their attention onto the bottom side and just be able to set up vision. This comp is a little hard to walk into if you're walking into bot because of Blitzcrank.
And speaking of, we're right here on the Lens yet again. Oh, twice in a row. As Doxa throws out the high five a little late that time around, but Aaron picking up the kill credit that time. Lens on the immobile 80 carry is getting punished back-to-back right now. Winnie as the front line taking a lot of damage underneath the turret here. Quacker teleports in. They got the turret. Can they get more? They got Chad. That is absolutely worth it for Wildcard. Went into the stasis, but it did not buy enough time for them to survive through that. And now they're getting in onto Daption. He just pops. Toasty's going to go down, uses all out. At least will claim Aaron's life. That could stop the end of the game. Lens is up in 5 seconds. Philip is still available. Wildcard will get the inhib and will walk away.
It's just going to be a second Drake for Wildcard. Of course, on top of the inhibitor and all the kills they picked up. It has just been another scrapper of a game. Game 1, What happened, Kagus? It felt like Wildcard were winning the entire time. Things got mixed up, but Wildcard still managed to close out. Now it seems like the opposite. So, you know, if I'm reading the script correctly, it means that Fear should make a comeback, but I find that harder to believe. Than,
with this composition, it's looking harder to believe. Len's looking like a vegan at a barbecue. He just doesn't know where he belongs right now, and he is constantly getting punished by this Blitzcrank.
Is that one of the jokes you wrote down?
Yeah, you don't have to out me like that.
You said specifically to out you before the broadcast. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to Chad.
Well,
they deserve better. I would never lie to
though.
you, Chad.
All right, well, either way, Fear are on the back foot, not only in the series, but in this game. They have yet to have a series 2-0 or 0-2. This would be their first time, and Wildcard, when we look at their incentive, they want a 2-0 every series remaining to guarantee a playoff spot, and more importantly, avoiding the promotion tournament. They would not have to defend their spot going into summer as long as they can 2-0 every series going forward. And they don't even have to do that. That's just the guarantee, right?
Yeah.
They could drop a couple games. It depends on what the people below them in the standings then look like, as Doxa almost lands that hook onto Toasty. Fear do not control this top jungle, and Wildcard, it's looking like they're going to start off their 2-0 sweep dream on a positive note here, because they have a lot of control over this game.
They do, and it's crazy to think the comeback that they had, because they were down a couple thousand gold. Now they're up 7,000 in their favor. They just picked up a bunch of gold to spend because of the turrets that they have knocked down. And by the way, Aaron hasn't reached 225 stacks. By last I saw, when he was highlighted a minute ago, he was at 200. And Philip, he might be on the gray screen.
All right, let's see it. Okay, big pick onto Philip. Yeah, Wildcard. They're just finding these picks one after another, and the composition, this is what they need to do. They're not the big front-to-back type of fight. The one time that they tried that, it did not work for them.
Right.
But if they can find these picks, that is where their comp is strong.
Yeah, and that's just another perfect example. That's kind of true for Fear because, again, a lot of their successful fights have been off Daption, getting that Enchanted Crystal Arrow off. It's harder now because you're kind of lacking in the damage. Your only real hope is Lens. 3.5 items, a lot of lethality, and with First Strike means that bullet time, it's going to do so much.
Okay, here we go. That's the combo. They almost got Doxa down. Flash out from the Blitzcrank. Right as you said it, we see it, but it does not net a kill.
No, but it gets them space. It gets them time, because another inhibitor with Dragon coming up in 2 minutes, it would just guarantee Wildcard get their soul point. At least you get yourself a little breathing room, a little time to potentially farm, clear camps, and maybe, big emphasis on maybe, get some vision control bottom side. Because look at what we're seeing here. A bunch of red wards, you know, 2
Aaron, get it with the Q.
blue wards.
No, what? Okay, that Grob was going crazy right there. Did not get it with the Q, though. So we're still not stacking, Aaron. We're not there. We are not at full stack Smolder at 29 minutes, and I don't think it's going to matter. I mean, they're still winning this game as of right now. You didn't Q that one either. Come on, Aaron.
There you go.
You got to get it with the Q.
It also works with the W. If they, see.
Well, it doesn't with the autos, so
fair enough.
There we go. Are we there?
Five more.
5 more. Can we get it before 30 minutes? I think 30 would be the longest I've ever seen for it to stack.
Yeah, me too. He'll have it before the Drake fight, and I think that's what matters most. In a way, you're right when you say it doesn't matter because Wildcard are already in a strong position, but in a way it does matter because what little chances Fear have go out the window when Aaron hits that threshold. And he's about to hit level 16 too. We'll have the rank 3 on the ultimate there. Hey, there's just a lot Wildcard have going for them in this game, and it's in such a crucial moment where consistent 2-0s for the rest of the split would guarantee them top 8.
Ooh, take on to Chad would be a great way to start things off for Wildcard. They pulled him right back in. They got their man. Quacker still alive, but a teleport flank from Philip. The Renekton flashes forward. They're trying to commit everything on the Quacker, and he's just not going down. He's so dang fast. How is he alive? Aaron is now able to free fire. Nobody has fallen from Wildcard, and that is the game and the series. Wildcard played the composition beautifully. They took one team fight, lost it, said, nah, no more of that. We are going for picks from this point forward, and they have found nothing but in the last couple of minutes here. Aaron has reached critical mass on the Smolder. These turrets are not long for this world, as Fear cannot do anything but watch as they will crumble. Wildcard begin the 2-0 dream in their first series win against Cincinnati Fear.
And a 2-0, no less, in a time where they couldn't have needed it more. So important for this roster, who we talked about stumbling towards the finish line at some points, which is why even though they don't always go to 3 games like Fear had, they do go to it pretty often. And by the way, they gave Fear their first 0-2. That's another little feather in their cap, if you will.
I was so convinced the narrative was behind Fear. The draft felt like it was behind Fear.
Yeah.
I was so certain that we were going to a 3rd game. But especially with how the bot lane started off, I mean, Aaron was just out of that game, but it did not come down to Aaron. It came down to Quacker and the rest of the members of Wildcard showing up. So props to them. We're going to send it to a short break here before we're back with an interview of one of the victorious members. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back after this.
Introducing the new Footlong Sidekicks at Subway. Try the warm and delicious Footlong Cookie, Footlong Pretzel, or Footlong Churro.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. We have Doxa support from Wildcard joining us after a 2-0 victory. The God Hand Blitz himself. Congratulations on the win, Doxa. I want to start off by asking you about that last game because that was a very interesting draft. It was not going to come down to front to backs, right? Which is weird seeing a Hui and a Smolder, but it was more about the picks by the end of the game. So tell me how the team was approaching that last game.
Yeah, so we had a different approach in the champ select. So we like do we ban Ashe or do we give them Ashe was like the biggest question. And we took the risk. We said, hey, let's give them Ashe. Let's like suffer in the laning phase, but kind of win in the later phases of the game. That's what we kind of planned, and that's what happened in the game as well.
Was the TF top something you were kind of holding on, kind of a break glass in case of emergency, or was that always something you were looking at in this particular game? Like for the we were practicing that actually all week, so that's something we had prepared, and Quacker actually picked it up really fast, and he's playing really well on it, so I'm really glad that he got the chance to play it.
I'm happy that he was able to pull it off and also execute on it because bot lane was struggling. I mean, I'm happy that you highlight that already. You kind of accepted that going in, sack bot a little bit, but y'all were falling very far behind. I want to hear your thoughts on kind of how the team approached the position you found yourselves in the early game, because it looked like things were maybe falling apart, but then you reach critical mass eventually. But who's kind of leading the shot calls? Who's leading that voice in those early stages?
Yeah, early stages, I mean, for most teams, same as us, it's the jungler, so Winston or Winnie. He does a really good job leading us in the early game, of course. But, I mean, it's nothing that we didn't expect. We went into draft saying, all right, we'll give them Ashe, and then we'll, like, take it in the back end in the early game, and then we'll perform later. So that we're not surprised by what they were doing in the early game.
Fair enough. I mean, it paid off. You guys won. I wanted to ask you, I kind of told you before we went live, about your role swap and what the experience has been like. I mean, considering it's only been a couple of months, I think, since you like officially changed and started playing as support. I think you've been playing really well, especially recently for Wildcard. So what's that transition process been like? Are there specific players you would speak to or look to, or how did that work for you?
There's some players that helped me in the 2v2 for sure. I'm going to give a quick little shout out. Pocus and also Snow 2 actually helped me a little bit. Some tier 3 players, but they're really knowledgeable and helped me in the earlier stages. And at the same time, this role is like really easy. It's like really easy. So it's I can't take too much credit. Yeah, I really can't. I didn't know it was this easy, but yeah, that's all.
Well, let's see if we can make it easier for you to close out here before we let you go. I got a question. I give you $1 million in a briefcase, in cash, untaxed right now.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. But for the rest of your professional career, you can only play Yuumi. Do you take the money?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm basically retired anyways. Okay. I don't have any further ambitions. So,
all right, well, congratulations. You're a millionaire there, Doc. So thank you for coming on and chatting with us. Best of luck continuing on through the rest of the split. And, we'll hopefully talk to you later.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, with that, we're going to throw it to...
Introducing the new foot-long sidekicks at Subway. Try the warm and delicious foot-long cookie, foot-long pretzel, or foot-long churro. Sup, NACL fans? Did you miss me? Have you been watching? Are you ready for a super heavyweight smackdown? This Saturday, a match so big we had to run it back as the last two remaining undefeated teams battling out for glory in the NACL. In the red corner, a team of developmental domination in the top half of the map. A duo that was bound for LCS. Sturdy and shaded show they can still stop the competition. Rookie Sanjay pilots the bot lane with one of the most promising young supports in Chime as his co-pilot. In the mid lane, Quad, hailing from Korea, puts his claim as one of the best damn players in the league. They promoted last split's MVP, and this roster is looking to the skies. FlyQuest Challengers! And in the blue corner, the teams of the North are looking to school the competition. Returning to the top lane, Professor America's teaching us all that he's still got it. Paired with the mid-jungle duo of UG Spyrex, this top side gets an A+, and making the opposition look like an extracurricular. Psycho support Scary Jerry, the self-proclaimed best in the league. Doing double duty in both C-LOL and NACL. Maryville University! This Saturday, FlyQuest versus Maryville